I grew up in the American heartland, so I grew up in a town called Champaign, Illinois. I spent some time in college in Boston, and for the last 7 years I've lived in New York City. And it's a wonderful, vibrant place for music, and for the two types of music I'm the most active in, which is rock and jazz. New York is a fabulous scene for both of those styles. And it's just wonderful to interact with so many different musicians, musicians who are specialists in one field or another, great producers, great performers, a lot of songwriters, a lot of bands, and it's exciting for me to live in New York and be a part of each one of those worlds. As a guitarist, I'm drawn always to great guitarists like Jimi Hendrix, Wes Montgomery, John McLaughlin, Pat Metheny, John Scofield, Tom Morello from Rage Against the Machine, The Edge from U2, Charlie Christian and Tiny Grimes, Joe Pass and John Frusciante from Red Hot Chili Peppers, Jimmy Page and Jeff Beck, and all of these guys. To me, it's all one fabulous potpourri. The number one criteria for being a great musician is to have an original voice. And that can be as a songwriter or as an arranger or as an instrumentalist, as an improviser, as a singer, of course, or a band can have an original sound. So the things I've always loved the most, everything from Bob Dylan and Eric Clapton to Muse, Black Keys, or Kurt Rosenwinkel, or Chris Potter, or Wayne Shorter, or Miles Davis. I mean, all of these guys, in no matter what genre, all of these musicians, they speak with an original voice. Elvin Jones, Art Blakey, Bill Evans, Brad Mehldau. It doesn't matter what the instrument is, what the genre it is, the one thing they have in common is speaking with an original voice. And for me, as a performer, as a player, as a writer, that is always the goal. And as a collaborator, the goal is to collaborate with people who possess that quality. I got into production as another way of creating, adding to the process, and working with other people. At this point in my career, I've been very fortunate to have been in the studio dozens of times with some of the most fabulous producers in the world, and I've learned so much. And for me, going from a jazz guitarist into a rock producer, the arc has come from the overflow of music that I've been lucky enough to participate in. I've bounced off of so many people that I was drawn to the idea of collaborating in a way that I could contribute ideas and add to other people's work, and also at the same time do my own. So that's where the idea for becoming a producer came from. Learn about other people's visions for music, add my own to them, and see if we can create something even greater. And that's the excitement of working with bands like C.J.Seven. I discovered C.J.Seven in a lucky moment of looking online at some bands that were playing near me in New York that week. And I saw that they were on the schedule. I didn't know anything about them or where they were from. I followed their website, I listened to a few songs, and as soon as the first song came on and Steven started singing, I thought, this is a band that I could contribute something to. They have a great rock style, great songs. Steven writes beautiful songs, beautiful lyrics, and he's got a wonderful and unique voice, which is what I was mentioning earlier. And when you have those ingredients, you can do anything. So I messaged the guys and I said, hey, still not even aware really where they were from. I just listened to the songs. And I messaged them, I said, hey, I'm a producer, I'd love to work with you guys. And they were assertive enough to schedule a rehearsal a few days later. So we got together in a room like this in New York and played through a couple of their new songs, and I added my comments and 2 cents about how the arrangements should go, and they liked the chemistry that we had together and the energy, and we decided to do an EP. I would describe C.J.Seven's music by simply stating that it always starts with a song. Steven writes wonderful songs, and you can tell that he draws a lot from some of the classic rock songwriters and a lot from what I would consider the grunge songwriters like Kurt Cobain and Eddie Vedder, and also from some of the more contemporary bands. So he's got these 3 pockets that he's pulling from, and I think that it's all driven by his voice and his lyrics, and to me that's what I love the most in bands. And sometimes it's hard to find contemporary bands that really write good songs, because I think a lot of bands approach music these days from the standpoint of the production and sounds, and a lot of influence from, be it hip-hop or electronic music or dance music. And that all works great, but it's a fundamentally different approach from starting with a song and building the sound of the band around the songs. So to me, that's what drew me to C.J.Seven, was they shared with me this concept that the band should be built around the songs, as opposed to building a band around a sound or a production or a more esoteric concept. So that is what makes us get along well, I think. The whole American and UK rock scene, I think, is well reflected in the music of C.J.Seven. And I think it gives them a bigger, more universal sound than, staying completely in one very narrow niche. And the upside of that is I think that they'll be able to reach a much larger fan base that way. I think the appeal of this music is very wide. My favorite C.J.Seven song, this is a tough one, because as you record, whatever song you're working on at the time is your favorite song at the moment. And I think this is always true with making a record. But if I had to pick one, I would say the song "This City." I think there's something very emotionally powerful and deep about that song. And it's from the first time I heard it in their old demo, I wanted to work on that song. And when we first got together in the Butterfly studio, that's the song we started with. And it was kind of a beautiful experience, because playing that song brought everybody emotionally on the same page to the place we needed to be at to summon the energy required for this project. So to me, that's the song that's the one that I think I'll be singing 10 years from now. I think that the instruments and the personalities and the role in the band of the guys in C.J.Seven match very well to each other. So Steven is the leader. He is the songwriter and the singer, and he's a very natural-born leader. And that's as important off stage as it is on stage. You have to always provide the inspiration for the rest of the band to stay together, work together, eat together, travel together, play together great, record together, all of these things. This is the band leader's burden, should we say. And I think that Steven does a wonderful job of understanding this and meeting the emotional needs of the members in the band so that the music can happen. Berger, I think, is the perfectionist, and certainly the one who is very focused on little details. And it's great that he's a guitarist, because I think that in general is a guitaristic type of trait. to have a personality where you really focus on getting the details right. And he's extremely passionate, and he's got a lot of energy. So the wonderful thing about him is he's got boundless energy, and all you got to do is focus that energy, and you will get some fabulous things, I think, as evidenced by you listening here.
Yeah.
Carl is an extremely important addition to this group of personalities, because he is very serious with the music and very goofy and loving and funny off stage. And I think that's important. The thing that's great about Carl is he doesn't bring any ego into the equation at all. And he takes direction very well, and he works really hard, and he shows up to play Steven's songs. And that's what's great about him. And then off stage, he's just kind of a goofy nutcase that provides the comic relief, keeps everybody happy, and I think that's really important. You got to have that in a group, because if you don't, then if everybody's always serious, then you get very tired of each other very quickly. John, I think, is somewhere between Berger and Carl. He's got the energy of Berger and the goofiness of Carl, but he's a very serious musician, and he's extremely devoted to getting the parts right, and making it work. And he also, I think, is very good at not bringing any ego into the situation, but he also plays like himself. He's willing to. He wants to contribute his sound to what the band is, and I think that is also key, especially for a drummer, because bands are always defined by their drummers. So I don't know if that's what you're looking for, but
Yeah.
I hope it helps a little bit.
It was a good answer.
Well, I think that I will remember nothing more than the wonderful people that I've met here. Every single person, every person in the band, every person related to the band, every person hanging out with the band has just been an absolute joy. And that has allowed us to have a wonderful vibe and really has served the music. I can't state that enough. The people being passionate and kind and enthusiastic has done a lot to make this a better record, I think. So that's the number one thing I'm going to take away, is how lovely and enjoyable all the personalities have been. And my sincere hope would be to do another project at the Butterfly Studio sometime. I think this is a fabulous setup, and it's really exciting to see a studio in its infancy. It's sort of like it's just being born on this record, and I see nothing but wonderful things in the future for this band and this studio and the way they work together to enhance each one. And I think I would be very surprised if we never got to hang out again. So until next time. I believe the Jake Hertzog special is 2 extremely hard-boiled eggs for breakfast. Well, for me, one of the biggest influences in my musical life has been the group Nilehorse. Nilehorse and Fluttermouse. Those are 2 bands that everybody should look up online. Hey, you with the camera. Shut up. Turn it off and shit. Hey, Steven, if you're watching, shut up. I think everybody should get turned on to the music of C.J.Seven. It's a very exciting band, and I think there'll be some fabulous things in the future for this band. So everybody should check them out online, go to their website, go to their shows, and keep an eye on this group. This is one to watch. Onwards and upwards.